Hey everyone, my name is Alex, and recently Funko released this set of Nickelodeon Minis series figures at Five Below, and since I have the whole set, I thought I'd take a look at them. Some overall thoughts: I really love this new style that Funko's been doing for minis. I noticed this new style around the time when the Across the Spider-Verse minis came out. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same products, but I really prefer this new style compared to the old FNAF ones they had before. I may be wrong, but this may be some of the only merch in recent memory that's focused on the 2000s shows rather than the 90s, which, considering that's when I grew up, I love that. I'm gonna just be reviewing these figures in the order I got them, so first up is regular Cosmo and Wanda. I honestly really love these figures. As you may know, the Fairly OddParents style doesn't exactly translate well to 3D, but these look amazing. I don't really spend my time looking at Fairly OddParents figures. That time is reserved for Ben 10 toys. I think these might be some of the best looking Fairly OddParents figures ever. They have their wands, wings, and okay, well the crowny things aren't floaty, but they're there. I really like how, while accurate to the show style, they deviate from it ever so slightly and actually make these characters appealing to look at in 3D. Admittedly, their poses do feel fairly odd. I know it would require an extra bit of modeling for the stand, but I wish they were floating like how fairies do, but I can excuse it a little bit. Overall, these are some really solid figures. But where's Timmy? Why is he not in the set? Come on, guys. The next two I got were Danny Phantom and Carl Weezer. Amazing pair-up, I know. But let's take a look at Danny first. And oh my god, this figure is amazing! Considering the only other Danny Phantom figures we had were this and this blows them completely out of the water. He looks basically perfect. Being a fan of the show, I'm really happy to have such a great figure of him. He does have some scuffs on him, but I think that's just my figure. I don't think they're all like that. Despite the more chibi proportions of these figures, I still think he too looks really accurate to the show style. My only gripe is I wish his hair was a little more round like how Cosmo's looks, but other than that, this is an incredible figure. He has his snowy white hair, they're not glowing, but he has green eyes. He looks much more unique than the other guys. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that now. Next up is Carl Weezer, an interesting choice for this set. I would have picked Goddard or something, but Carl does have the meme recognizability, so I can see why they chose him. He looks pretty good, but that's to be expected from a show that's already 3D. Although, since his eyes are printed onto the glasses rather than the glasses being hollow, he has no eyes from certain angles. Ugh. Either way though, he's a really solid figure. He looks pretty accurate to the show, and there's not really much else to say about him. With the last batch, I finished off the set with Ember McLean, Jimmy Neutron, and the glitter variants of Cosmo and Wanda. I have some choice words about them, but that's for later. Let's take a look at Ember first. Fun fact, besides the NFT Funko Pop? What the f? Besides the Funko Pop, this is the first Ember figure ever, and it's really good. Well, mostly besides the face. Maybe it's just me, but the face looks kinda off? Doesn't look bad by any means, but something about it is just a little creepy. Maybe it's the eyes. But even in saying all that, it doesn't take away from the fact that this is a really neat little figure. Ember herself has a pretty simple design, so it's kinda hard to mess her up, and they delivered here. I know I shouldn't be impressed by this, but they even got the little skulls on her boots. That's cool to me. You may have noticed that I've had her standing on a card this whole time, and that's because she kinda has a hard time standing up. Although I can't tell if that's because of her giant ponytail or the soft playmat I recorded this footage on. I think this would have been another great opportunity to make her float. I know she doesn't always float in the show, but in the stock art that I can totally tell they based this figure off of, she is, so I don't know, I'm rambling now. Moving on! Now let's take a look at Jimmy Neutron himself. At first, I really didn't care for how he looked in this set, but he grew on me a lot. He's really stylized, which I guess threw me off at first given how the other figures mostly stuck to their respective art style. I kinda don't really have a lot to say about him, honestly. He's just a really good figure. Here's a comparison to how he looks in the show, and besides how stylized he is, he looks like a perfect recreation. Great figure. Now it's time to talk about Glitter Cosmo and Wanda. Now let me say, I don't hate these figures, but I don't like them either. I can see what they were going for. In the show, Cosmo and Wanda often turn into pink and green versions of whatever they turn into, and the glitter makes them more fairy-like. But if they were gonna do recolors, I really would have preferred something that was actually in the show, like the jumpsuit Danny wore when he first walked into the ghost portal, or maybe Jimmy's red and white shirt that he had in some old merch. But these, meh. They're made out of a different material than the other figures, obviously, which leads to Wanda not being able to stand at all. In fairness, again, it could just be my figure, but I kinda doubt it. Since these are a different material, I totally would have liked to see a transparent Danny figure. That would have been so cool. These are probably my least favorite in the set, but with all that negativity being said, they're not the worst thing in the world. Overall, I think this is an amazing set of figures. I don't know if Funko does this for minis, but I'd love to see a Series 2 of these. So I found out while I was editing that these actually kind of are the Series 2, I think. I found a set of, ironically enough, 90s Nick boxes, so yeah, that's pretty cool. Gives me even more hope for another series. In fact, if I were to do a Series 2, I'd pick Sam and Tucker from Danny Phantom, Timmy, and this is kind of stretching it a bit maybe, but Hazel from Fairly OddParents, and Sheen and Goddard from Jimmy Neutron. If I had to do glitter alts, I'd just do pink and blue versions of Timmy and Hazel, I guess. Considering Funko's been doing a lot of Cartoon Network pops lately, I'd be interested to see if they do a mini set for those. And that's not just because I want to see more Ben 10 figures. If you're a fan of any of these shows, I think these make for great little display pieces, especially since this is some of the only merch some of these characters have. I was able to find a full set of these at once at my Five Below, so if they interest you, I'd say why not pick them up? I might say to skip out on Glitter Cosmo and Wanda though.